Had no fear, Hippie here is here. And today, we're gonna see what appears on YouTube, and we're gonna be watching a video by SpooknJukes. It is an hour-long video, so I'm probably gonna see about condensing it down to maybe 15 minutes, maybe a little more. Um, just so we can get everything in. There's a lot to take in. I'm probably gonna just be skipping to like the most played moments in the YouTube video. So let's get into it.
There's a streamer that I've covered a few times on this channel that I've referred to as Goofy Goober. Remember this guy?
Oh, love the favoritism, asshole.
Here we go again, another
Is it
favoritism
Goofy
dipshit killer.
Goober
Just gonna give
or
up on the hook
Shortbread?
because
Yeah.
I'm not one that gets a favoritism ghost face. Oh great, now he's taking the game hostage. I see that hideous symbol on that hook. Yeah, I'm not playing with the stream sniper. His wife is attractive, very attractive, looks like a badass. But to have him as a husband, I honestly feel sorry for her.
Yes, that guy. The favoritism guy. That's who I decided to debate next. And the story here is this guy went live and was doing a reaction to the other debate that I recently did. And he had called me a clown and was saying all these things on his live stream. And somebody
Actually
told me
having a
about it. So
full-on
I went into the
debate?
stream and I said, hey, I'll debate you as well if you're down for it.
I
And
kinda wanna
he was
debate
down for it. So
SpooknJukes.
a couple hours after that, we sat down and had a debate, and he did live stream the entire thing. And
Okay, I'm about to say it best not
very
be
similarly to the
SpooknJukes.
first one, it
I
goes
get those two
completely
confused all the time.
off the rails, and it is mind numbing to listen to. So much so that I had to edit it down because there's so much talk about trans people and wokeness and pride. I mean, he just goes into all this, and he asked me at the beginning of the debate, hey, what do you want to debate about? And I said, well, you're calling me a narcissist and a hypocrite and a racist, and you have problems with me, and I've made videos about you, so let's talk about that. And that's what was supposed to be talked about, but because he already watched me debate this other guy, he wanted to get into all these other topics, and he just like talks about Disney a bunch and how Disney is so woke for casting people of color in white roles and whatever.
Very,
There was
very
so
off
much. But
topic.
what I'm going to do for you guys is I am going to post the unedited full debate unlisted if you guys want to watch that. I'll post the link in the description. But for those of you who don't want to sit through that mind-numbing hour and 40 minutes or whatever it is, I'm just gonna cut it down because
Okay,
I
gotta
have
cut
other
down
things to
further.
show you guys after this debate. There's lore, and I mean
Let's
serious.
skip around.
Say like it's a competitive way to get that solid 4K, but as far
Plugging
as
up
you were
4Ks.
mentioning about the adept, I don't do the adept because like it's already a headache enough as it is when most of the perks that behavior keeps changing constantly that it really screws up the gameplay itself because it just seems like they don't have a simple mindset of how to like what a perk should do and it should stay like that because the size of strike has been changed 7 different times throughout 8 years and I'm just like
They
it
are
just
very
seems
poor
like
at
they
balance
don't
and
know
perks.
how to what is
But
the
they're doing a
best
lot of experimentation.
decision for this particular perk and another thing that drives me up the wall is that I don't think they even playtest their game when new DLCs come out because when the Lara Croft DLC came out, there was a surplus of bugs that my viewers and I came across that was just so ridiculous that they did not foresee this and like I said, I don't think they even playtested because like it's really ridiculous that they would let so many bugs like pass with almost 1,300 people in this company, like you would think that they would play test this before it releases to the general public, but they don't. I honestly don't think they care. Now, you probably would ask me like, well, why do I still play Dead by Daylight? Well, it's like the game that I can tolerate I could say the most compared to other games because they have a lot more bugs and glitches and that sort of thing, and it's just not
Okay,
enjoyable to
makes
play.
sense. Let's go into the actual argument. We'll skip ahead
That all the
10
time.
minutes. If anybody wants to help me out with YouTube Premium, it. Yeah, I'm struggling with commercials right now. Just ignore distraction.
And I never thought of it as a bad word at all growing up. I was in the same boat. But as you get older, you kind of
Okay, this is talking about using the R word and using the N word. Previously, SpooknJukes has used the N word before, and there was a big controversy over it. Him and the guy who's saying it to, they're just talking crap to each other, and eventually they end up becoming friends, apparently.
a lot of people with special needs who
But he doesn't say it
are
no more.
bullied, and one of the main words used to bully these people with special needs is that specific word. So while it's like not offensive to you or offensive to other people who aren't like at the butt of it being used to mock something that's completely out of their control, that word does carry a lot of weight to those specific people, and even people who are maybe are deaf or maybe blind, have
I
any sort of
completely
disability.
agree.
That is like one of the staple words people use to shame them for that thing which they have no control over. So yeah, maybe you and I, it's like if someone calls us that, it's like, oh, whatever, like why do I care? But it's more about how, like, it's more about what that word, kind of the weight that it holds in the history behind it. And again, understanding that, like, outside of just you and I, that word has been very maliciously used against people that, like, don't have any control over things that they were born with. So it's really just about being mindful of saying those things, especially like if you're live and streaming, because like you might be going against somebody, or you might have a viewer or somebody watching you that like has a disability, and maybe that person was bullied all throughout middle school, elementary school, high school with that word specifically, because again, that is one of the most common words used against, like, to bully disabled people. So that's why people don't like that word. People don't like hearing that word, and that people have, like, in the modern age have tried to deter people from saying it so that it doesn't, upset people who have a history of being verbally abused with that word. It brings back past trauma, maybe makes them feel really bad about themselves when obviously they shouldn't, because it's not anything they can control. And I mean, and you could use that same argument with any slur. I mean, if you talk about, like the F slur, for example, it's like, these slurs are specifically used to, like, hate and bully groups of people for things that they can't control. You can't control being gay. You don't control who you love. You don't control who you're attracted to. That's just, you are who you are. And a lot of these people, gay people in the LGBTQ community, are just like, a lot of them, the suicide rates are through the roof because they're disowned by their families. They are just bullied throughout high school. They try to keep it a secret from people because they feel ashamed. They obviously shouldn't feel ashamed, but it's like all these words are the words that are thrown at them to, like, deteriorate their mental health and drive them to want to, hurt themselves or end their lives. So, like, while it, again, you could look at somebody as a snowflake for getting upset by hearing those words, but hearing those words can bring back that trauma. Like, if somebody,
I completely agree with Speak. It takes like your time to really be kind to another person. Okay, let's go a little bit farther down the line.
people snowflakes, would deny you yourself being a snowflake. Because you would say, well, I'm thick-skinned, I don't get offended by words, so I'm not a snowflake. I don't let
I
that
find
shit bother
people
me.
who
So you
call
have this
people
mindset that,
snowflakes
well,
are
I'm
the
not a
biggest
snowflake.
snowflakes,
When really,
which is
the
irony.
reality is you do
Which
get
I'm also
just as
doing that
offended,
right
but
now,
just
but
over
I
other
don't
silly
know.
shit, like video games. So you are a snowflake.
A
Okay,
hypocrite.
so what I am, but it's funny coming from you when you troll people a lot and get a
How?
rise out of
What do you
them.
mean I troll them? Can you be specific there?
You tr- on all the videos that you make, trying to make people look bad, you look down on them, and just like, and yeah, they're probably bad. They probably have done things they probably should have done, and I'm one of them. I admit, I know saying the F slur was bad, but do I apologize for it? No, because like we are living in a world where people are so easily offended. It's ridiculous, and it's just like I don't know why
You shouldn't be
words.
proud of saying a word that can be associated with people wanting to
Did I say
kill
I was proud?
themselves. No, but
I
you
did.
should.
I
But
never
no, but
said that.
I'm okay. Not that you're proud, but you're standing on this hill saying, "I don't regret it," or "I'm not ashamed of it," or "I'm not sorry for it." It's like You know, it's like you bring up the me being a racist thing because I said this word one time, which I actually have apologized for and have made a video talking about the whole situation, and I've never ever said the word again. And even the context that I said that word in was not even in an insulting, like I'm using that word to insult you. It was a phrase they threw at me over and over while threatening to shoot me with a gun and sending me an audio clip of them like cocking a gun. Supposedly it was probably a fake clip, but they were saying, come to my address. They were saying, come to my address, I'm going to shoot you. And they kept using this phrase over and over. So I repeated the phrase to mock them because I was like, oh, you're acting like this big tough guy, but you're mad over a game. So that's why I said it. But was it stupid? Yes. Was it wrong for me to say? Yes. Which is why I deleted the video. I posted an apology on Twitter, and I posted an apology on my YouTube channel because regardless of the context, I shouldn't say that word even if I'm just repeating it to somebody. But see, that's the difference. As you called me a racist for that, but it's like I didn't say the word in racist context, and I didn't even say that word as an insult, nor did I even use the word that's used to discriminate against black people. But you're calling me a racist for that. On the other hand, you said the actual word that is used to discriminate against gay people, and you used it as an insult, as a pure negative thing, as a hey, I'm calling you this as an insult, as a bad thing.
Context is very important to everything.
That is not at all this.
Like that.
What?
So if you didn't mean it like that, then why did you write it to that guy? I mean, like, were you trying to get a rise out of him? Because here's
the phrase he kept saying. You've never met a real N-word like me before. I'm a real N-word. He was saying it like using that word and that phrase is you've never met a tough guy like me. So I said, oh yeah, real blank get upset over video games. Tough guys get upset over pixels. That was the context of me saying it because he said it like, I'm not kidding you, 15 times in his voice messages, in his text messages.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, so I just was like, oh yeah, you're such a tough guy, even though you're threatening to shoot me over a video game. And the funniest thing with the whole thing is like the guy, him and I made up. He said, dude, he said you should post that video because that was a funny interaction. And then him and I swift together. And that was way back in 2018, 2019, whenever that actually happened. But it's like him and I are friends on PlayStation to this day. He's still on my PlayStation friends list. So it's not like, you know what I mean? I was repeating a phrase that he was using to call himself a tough guy. And again, that's not an excuse because I still shouldn't have said it, which is the whole reason the video's down and the whole reason I have an entire video saying, hey, this was bad and it was a mistake. I called it a mistake. The video is called I Made a Mistake. So I'm acknowledging that I did something wrong, that I said something wrong. And
it's always good to acknowledge your mistakes. I find it very, very helpful. Let's go back a little bit farther.
Not healthy.
And just so you know, I'm not calling you a bad person either. Just like you
called me a narcissist, which is,
yes. Okay, I'll take that back. Yes,
that's a bad thing.
Say one thing and then you do all this is so contradictory. It makes me laugh.
But that's the thing. I need examples of that because that's another thing that we should talk about. Is you called me. We could talk about narcissist. You could talk about hypocrite. Like, what do I say that's bad, but then I also do? Because in order for me to be a hypocrite, I have to do things that I say you shouldn't do.
So you made a video back in 2023 where, like, you tell people, say, GG, just move on to the next game and not judge people, and yet you do the same thing back in the day when you did your Basement Bubba and you troll and get other people upset, and then you most likely get into arguments with people all the time. So like, and there's been people on X.
You're not saying that you're not listing anything. Yeah. So what you said is
that you go.
Rated team.
If anybody wants to help me with YouTube Premium, it'd be great. No distraction.
What you're saying is that I tell people that they should just go to the next match instead of harassing people or messaging them and insulting them and stuff like that. That's what I say. But I don't do that to other people. So you brought up me playing. What does me playing Basement Bubba have to do with messaging people, insulting them?
You troll people. you get them upset, and I'm pretty sure they lash out at
Making a
you
YouTube
for how you
video.
play. I mean, it's happened to me before.
What does me playing Basement Bubba? So you're equating.
So you're telling me when before the basement, sorry, not the basement, the face camping mechanic before he came in, when you played your basement Bubba or just a Bubba in general, and when you face camp or proxy camp hooks, you're telling me that people didn't lash out to you for how you played.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right now, and you can look back and you can ask anybody that's a regular viewer of mine. Back then, all the way to this day, when I would play Basement Bubba, I would get overwhelmingly more good sports than I would get people who were mad. Because a lot of people treat Basement Bubba like an urban legend. It's like something you rarely see. It's something that like was a thing way back in 2017 and then it kind of fizzled out. When people get an Insidious Bubba, they're like, oh my God, I haven't seen one of these in forever. It's like it's like this goofy thing. It's a meme. It's like this fucking, like, again, like an urban legend. And a lot of times, the majority of times,
Honestly,
actually,
I feel like
people say GG or, oh my
Bubba.
God, it's a Basement
On YouTube,
Bubba,
it's been a
and
while.
whatever. And when I play Basement Bubba, it wasn't to rile people up. It was because you understand how many fucking 4Ks that I got and still get? By the way, the anti-face cam mechanic did not affect my Basement Bubba at all.
Basement Bubba, let's go forward a little bit. Oh, this part I found fine.
To the end of the debate, and I hope that you're still hanging in there because here comes the real juicy stuff. Once the debate was over, he messaged me on Discord saying that one of his viewers wanted to talk to me, and I told him that I wasn't really interested in debating one of his viewers at this moment. So if his viewer wants to come discuss anything with me in my stream later on when I'm live, we can do that. He then tells me that he has a question for me that he forgot to ask me during the debate, and that question is, would I be okay with my daughter being in the same bathroom as a trans woman, and brings up that there have been cases where trans women have gone into bathrooms and sexually harassed or assaulted children. I tried to explain to him that statistically, heterosexual men sexually assault women and children at a far higher rate than trans people do, and asked if that bothered him, and that if he'd be comfortable with children sharing bathrooms with heterosexual men. And he said I was deflecting, and I said, he asked me again, are you comfortable with that? And I said, yes, of course I'm comfortable with my daughter being in the same bathroom as a trans woman, because they're just using the fucking bathroom. He then goes on to send me a few very specific links where trans people were arrested for harassing or assaulting people in bathrooms. And at this point he tells me, you don't deserve to be called a father if you think that's okay. I responded to him by saying he's very ignorant, misinformed, and very hateful, and his logic is very skewed because just like I talked about with the last guy, there have been thousands of reported cases of priests and pastors sexually assaulting children, so by that logic, are we just not going to ever send kids to church? No, we're not going to treat every priest and pastor like they are the worst of the worst and treat them the same way we treat the bad ones, because we don't group everybody together because of the crimes of a few. And to even further try to get my point across, I sent him specific links of men sexually assaulting women or children in bathrooms, because that has happened far more often than it has with trans people. Now we're going to talk about this guy's secret second channel that he streamed to on Kick, and I say secret because he didn't tell any of his viewers about.
I want to say, like, it just felt very off topic. He'd bring that up in the DMs with him. I find crazy we're in 2024 and people still worry about trans people in bathrooms. They're just trying to use bathroom, man.
About it, it was completely a secret, something he kept all to himself, and it's wild, and you're gonna see why it's wild. You see how much he hates trans people, and if you watch the unedited debate, you also see there was a section in there where he was talking badly about people who do drag. So he doesn't like trans people, he doesn't like people who do drag. Well, on this channel, he goes under the alias Alice, and he plays as Kate Denson with the Alice in Wonderland skin exclusively. And on this channel, he uses a voice changer to pitch his voice up to sound like a woman or like a girl, and he pretends to be somebody entirely different. He pretends to be a girl on this channel. And the funny part is he acts the same and has the same kind of tone of voice and talks about reporting killers. And I'll just show you a few clips. Here you go.
You're not that good. You have the proxy camp and tunnel like a troll.
Sounds so
Yeah, he's definitely
stupid.
gonna get reported.
Like
Now he's being a
helium.
disgusting little perv. Oh, I think you know
misspelled
because your
pervert.
proxy campaign, toxic behavior, unsportsmanlike, and you're a disgusting pervert. Get off my channel.
Oh yeah, that's him. That's the same guy. That's the same guy who shames people for being trans or shames people for being drag and treats all trans people like they're horrible humans because of a couple people who have committed crimes in bathrooms. He's going to treat them all like the worst possible human beings and also shit on people for doing drag. But he has a whole channel where he pretends to be a girl, pretends to be a woman, and
That's
doesn't
more
tell
significant
anybody
than
about
just
it.
drag, I
So
feel
what did I
like.
do? I called him out on it in DMs. Now, when I first brought this up, he said, "What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with this shit about your daughter." And I said, why are you denying role playing as this Alice? And he said, "This is a first for me. Why are you deflecting again?" And I told him multiple people know about this and have sent it to me. And he just kept ignoring it and saying that I don't care about my daughter's safety. I told him that he should tell his chat, that he should be honest with his viewers about Alice. And he responded by saying that he was going to tell his chat about how I'm a careless father and that he was going to show the world that I'm a terrible father. So then I sent him one of the clips from the Alice channel and he just said, "Okay." And then finally tell anybody about it. So what did I do? I called him out on it in DMs. Now, when I first brought this up, he said, "What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with this shit about your daughter." And I said, why are you denying?
I saw something that I want to read. It looked like Speak called him an asshole. I'm like, why you gotta call him that? I mean, he probably is. But ain't sure. Name calling, I just don't feel like it belongs in any type of debate. Oh, okay, no, it was him calling him. Okay, you have to speak very
I'm a
handily when in this
terrible
debate.
father. So then I sent him one of the clips from the Alice channel and he just said, "Okay." And then finally, out of nowhere, he said that he admitted it to his viewers in Discord and said, "Are you happy? They're still gonna support me because they don't like you." And he said that, he lied about it because it was none of my business. And he said that that it was a mistake, but it's nothing to the level of my mistakes. And again, goes on to tell me that I don't care about my daughter's safety. I really do think that there's a lot going on beneath the surface with this individual, and probably more things that he wants to come clean about aside from Alice. And maybe down the road he will come clean about those things, and it'll probably.
Yep. I'm kind of learning more about him. He seems like um Goofy Goober, whoever he's talking about. Well, I'm not sure if it's short, but I don't think it's referred to as Goofy Goober. Um. Yeah, he probably definitely has some type of mental issues, some type of psychological thing going on with him. So yeah, I hope he kind of gets his stuff resolved and becomes a little less hateful, a little bit more polite to others, treats people with more respect. And if you actually do a debate again, that you shouldn't do name calling. I feel like you shouldn't just bring up all these random topics. I felt like they're a bunch of fallacies. We had. So yep. I would say Speak very heavily won the debate. I hope everybody make sure you give him a like and follow. He's excellent content creator. And I hope everybody has a great, wonderful day. Bye bye.